Konnichiwa, Mina. And now, the day has finally arrived. After an incredible season, and incredible playoffs, it's come down to one final game. PFA Bowl 1. It's pretty cold here in Baltimore, 38 degrees but clear. And this is the first professional football championship game in Baltimore since 1959. But it ain't no Colts, nor it ain't no Ravens. It's the PFA, and now let's go to the team introductions. Representing the Century Conference with a record of 14-4 coming from the Century Central. They start off a century best and franchise best 9-0. They stumbled a little bit, falling to 11-3, but they went on to finish 14-4 to get the home field advantage. They beat the Baltimore Charm 20-13, and then they beat the Pittsburgh Blitz 21-16 in the Century Conference Championship. Please welcome the Century Conference champion and number 1 seed in the Century Conference, the Chicago 71ers. And now, representing the National Conference with a PFA record best 15-3 record. They start off a franchise best, conference best, and league best 14-0. They went on to lose 3 of their next 4 games, but they managed to turn around for a 15-3 record to get home field advantage throughout the National Conference playoffs. They beat the Los Angeles Angels in a wild 34-31 game, and then they beat the Washington Americans 17-0 in a defensive holdout in the National Conference. The National Conference champion and the number 1 seed in the National Conference playoffs with the league's number 1 offense, the Omaha Thunder. The teams are ready to go. They've been waiting 2 weeks for this moment, and it's going to come down to this. One of these teams will be the first ever PFA champions and get their first ever title ever. So let's get this game underway. Chicago won the toss, and they elected to receive, and they got the ball and returned to 21 yards to start their 25. And remember, Chicago is not without their starting quarterback, Matthew Smart. They're with his backup, who did a pretty good job against Pittsburgh last week. But now let's see how he does to make his first start in PFA Bowl 1. So on 1st and 10 at their 25, it was a pass that went incomplete. Not a good start there. So on 2nd 10 at their 25, they did a run, which was for no gain. And then on 3rd and 10 at their 25, they did a pass that went for 7 yards. So on 4th and 3, they punted the ball back to Omaha, who returned it for -2 yards. So Omaha now got the ball for the first time for this game, starting at their 24. On 1st and 10 at their 24, they did a pass that went for 14 yards to convert another first down. Then on 1st and 10 at their 38, they did a run that went for 20 yards. How about that? So now they're in Chicago territory. On 1st and 10 at Chicago's 42, they did a run that went for 2 yards. Then on 2nd 8 at Chicago's 40, they did a pass that went 40 yards and got the first touchdown of the game. And the extra point was good, so now Omaha leads 7-0. So, wow, Omaha's already on the board this quickly. So Chicago got the ball, returned it 13 yards to start their 18. So on 1st and 10 at their 18, they did a pass that was incomplete. Then on 2nd and 10, at their 18, they did a run that went for 2 yards. So then on 3rd and 8 at their 20, they did a run that went for 1 yard. So on 4th and 7, they punted the ball back to Omaha, who did not return it. So now with Omaha having the ball back, they on 1st and 10 at their 45, they suffered a 6-yard sack. So man, that Chicago defense is playing strong. So on 2nd 16 at their 39, they did a pass that went for 4 yards. And then on 3rd and 12 at Omaha 43, they did a pass that was incomplete. So they then punted the ball back to Chicago. So after that, Chicago got the ball back, and it started at their 20. So on 1st and 10 at their 20, they did a run that went for 1 yard. Then on 2nd 9 at their 21, they did another run that went for 6. So on 3rd and 3 at their 27, they did another run, which went for 4 yards, so I converted for the first down. So on 1st and 10 at their 31, they did a pass that went for 8 yards. So on 2nd and 2 at their 39, They went to rush. However, their running back fumbled the ball, and Omaha recovered it and started off at at Chicago's 44. However, on the next play, Archie Marvin, Omaha's quarterback, threw an interception that was returned 1 yard. So Chicago still has the ball back at their 41. So on 1st and 10 at their 41, they ran for 4 yards. Then on 2nd and 6 at their 45, they did a pass that was incomplete. So then on 3rd and 6 at their 35, they did a run that converted for the first down. So on 1st and 10 at their Omaha's 49, they did a pass that was incomplete. Then on 2nd and 10, they did a pass again, which was incomplete. And then 3rd and 10, still at their Omaha's 49, they did a pass again that went for 6 yards. So on 4th and 4, they punted the ball back, which was a touchback. So on 1st and 10 at their Omaha 20, they suffered a 7-yard sack from Alfred Helms, who I think leads the league in sacks. Let's set them way back. So on 2nd 20 at their 10, they did a run that went for 1 yard. And on 3rd and 19 at their 11, they did a pass that went for 13 yards. So they set them up at 4th and 6. So they punted the ball back to Chicago to start, and they did a no return to set up at the 2019. So 1st and 10 at their 29, because I was mistaken earlier. They did a pass, and it converted for 14 yards with another first down. Then at 1st and 10 on their 43, they did another pass, but it was incomplete. Then on 2nd 10, their 43, they did an 8-yard pass. So on 3rd and 2nd, they did a run that went for 1 yard. But on 4th and 1 at the Omaha 48, they decided to do a pass to try and convert the first down. However, it went incomplete, so they turned the ball over on downs. So Omaha got the ball with 51 seconds left at their 48. So on 1st and 10 at that, they did a pass that went for 13 yards. And then on 1st and 10 at their 39, they did a pass that went for 4 yards. And that ended the first quarter with Omaha leading 7-0. And in the second quarter, started at the Chicago 35, they did a pass that went for 33 yards. That set them up right at the 2. And then on 1st and goal at Chicago's 2, Archie Marvin threw a 2-yard pass for the touchdown, and the extra point was good. So now Omaha leads 14-0. So Chicago got the ball back, and they returned it 30 yards to start their 37. So on 1st and 10 at their 37, they did a run that went for 36 yards to get them into Omaha 27. So on 1st and 10 at Omaha's 27, they did a pass that was incomplete. And on 2nd 10 at the 27, they did another pass that went for 20 yards to set them up right at the Omaha 7. All of a sudden now Chicago's offense is clicking. But on 1st and goal at the 7, they went to pass, and it was intercepted, and Omaha returned it 8 yards to set them up at their 11. So on 1st and 10 at their 11, they did a pass that went for 8 yards. And on 2nd and 2, they went for a run that went for 3 yards. Then on 1st and 10 at their 22, they did a run that went for 12 yards. Then on 1st and 10 at their 34, they did a pass that went for 6 yards. On 2nd and 4 at their 40, they did a pass that went for 16 yards. And on 1st and 10 at their 44, at Chicago's 44, they went back, Archie Marvin went back to pass, and he was sacked again for a 5-yard loss. On 2nd 15 at Chicago 49, they did a pass that went for 6 yards. On 3rd and 9 at the Chicago 43, they did a pass again that went for 20 yards. And then on 1st and 10 at Chicago 23, they did a pass that went for 23 yards and got another touchdown, and the extra point was good. So now Omaha's leading 21-0. So wow, Chicago just put themselves in an even bigger hole than they already were in. So they got the ball back and returned it 4 yards, starting at their 11. So on 1st and 10, they went for a pass that was incomplete. On 2nd 10, they went for a pass that went for a 4-yard run. Gained 4 yards. However, one of their wide receivers went down to injury. And on 3rd and 6, they had a penalty, which sent them back 7 yards. And then again, another penalty on 3rd and 13, so it sent them back to 3rd and 17. Man, they are undisciplined in that part. And then on 3rd and 17 at their 4, they did a run that went for 4 yards. So then they punted the ball back to Omaha. Thankfully for Omaha, it was a very, very terrible punt that started Omaha right at the Chicago 34. However, on their first play, they'd have a penalty for an illegal substitution, so it sent them back 5 yards. So 1st and 10 at their Chicago 34, they did a run that went for no gain. On 2nd 15, they did a pass that was incomplete. And on 3rd and 13, third and 15. They went for a pass that went for 27 yards to set them up at the Chicago 7. And then the next play on 1st and goal at Chicago 7, they did a 7-yard run that allowed them to get another touchdown, and the extra point was good. So Chicago got the ball, returned it 10 yards. However, there was 54 seconds left, so they just kneeled it to end the half. And going into halftime, Omaha now leads 28-0. Wow, Chicago is in one hell of a hole with just 2 quarters left to go. But Omaha got the ball to start the third quarter, and they returned it 10 yards. So on 1st and 10 at their 15, Archie Marvin threw his second interception of the day, and Chicago returned it 11 yards to set them up at Omaha 6. So on 1st and goal at their 6, they did a pass that went for 4 yards. So on 2nd goal at their 2, they did a 2-yard pass that finally got Chicago their first points on the board. However, they missed the extra point, so now they're down 28-6. So Omaha got the ball back to returned it 8 yards to start at their 13. So on 1st and 10 at their 13, they did a run that went for 5 yards. And thankfully for them, Chicago had a face mask penalty on that play, so it gave them an extra 15 yards to start them at their 33. So 1st and 10 at their 33, they did a pass that went for 4 yards. On 2nd and 6 at their 37, they went for a run that went for no gain. And then on 3rd and 6 at their 37 still, they did a pass that went for 8 yards to convert the first down. So 1st and 10 at their 45, Archie Martin went back to pass, and he was sacked again by Alfred Helms for a 6-yard loss. On 2nd and 16 at their 39, they did a run that went for 5 yards. And on 3rd and 11 at their 44, they did a run that went for 2 yards. So on 4th and 9, they planted the ball back to Chicago, which was a touchback. With that last spark that Chicago's defense provided, maybe Chicago can pull off a comeback. But on 1st and 10 at their 20, they did a pass that went incomplete. On 2nd and 10, they did a pass that was incomplete again. And on 3rd and 10, they went for a run that went for 8 yards, so they fell 2 yards short of first down. So they punted the ball back, and Omaha lost 3 yards on the return. So 1st and 10 at their 29, they did a pass that went for 11 yards to convert a first down. On 1st and 10 at their 40, they did a run that went for 1 yard. On 2nd and 9 at their 41, they did a pass that went for 6 yards. On 3rd and 3, they did a pass that went for 8 yards to convert another first down. And on the next play, Chicago had an encroachment penalty, so that added a couple more yards for them. So 1st and 5 at their Chicago 40, they did a run that went for 4 yards. On 2nd and 1, at the 36, they did another run that went for 1 yard to convert another first down. However, on that play, Chicago had another unnecessary roughness penalty that added 15 extra yards for Omaha. So 1st and 10 at Chicago 20, they did a pass that went for 9 yards. And on 2nd and 1 at the 11, they did an 11-yard run to get another touchdown. The extra point was good, and now Omaha leads 35-6. Chicago got the ball back, and they returned it 32 yards to set them up at their 37 to get big starts. So 1st and 10 at their 37, they did a run that went for 4 yards. On 2nd and 6, at their 41, they did a pass that went for 13 yards to convert the first down. And the Thunder had a face mask penalty, so that helped gain Chicago some more yards. So on 1st and 10 at the Omaha 31, they did a pass that was incomplete. On 2nd 10 at their 31, they went for another pass that was incomplete. On 3rd and 10, they went for a run that went for 5 yards. So on 4th and 5, they decided to go for the 43-yard field goal, which was good. So Omaha got the ball back to start at their 16. On 1st and 10, they did a pass that went for 9 yards. On 2nd 1 at their 25, they did a run that went for 5 yards. And on 1st and 10 at their 30, they did a pass that went for 16 yards. And that would end the third quarter as we go into the final quarter of the game with Omaha winning 35-9. But in the fourth quarter, on 1st and 10 at their 46, they did a run that went for 1 yard. On 2nd 9 at their 47, they did a run that went for 1 yard. On 3rd and 8 at their 48, they did a pass that went for 27 yards. A massive gain, and that put them into Chicago territory. Over the next play, they had a penalty that gave them they had an illegal motion penalty, so that sent them back 5 yards. So 1st and 10 at Chicago 30, they did a pass that went incomplete. On 2nd and 15, they went for a pass that was completed for 5 yards. So on 3rd and 10 at the 25, they did a run that went for 6 yards. And Forrest Williams, the defensive end for Chicago, was injured on that play. So finally stopped for the first time this game in the red zone. Omaha went for a 36-yard field goal, and it was no good. They missed the field goal, so now Chicago takes over. So starting at their 19 on 1st and 10, they went for a pass that was incomplete. On 2nd and 10, their 19 again, they went for a pass that went for 16 yards to get a first down. So 1st and 10 at their 35, they went for a run that went for 2 yards. And Omaha had an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that gave Chicago 15 extra yards. So 1st and 10 now at the Omaha 48. They went back to pass, and they suffered another sack for the game. That was a -5 yards. So back in their territory on 2nd and 15, they went for a pass that went for 6 yards. On 3rd and 9, they went for a pass that was incomplete, and they then punted the ball back to Omaha, which was a touchback. However, Chicago had another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on that play, which gave Omaha an extra 15 yards to start their 35. So 1st and 10 at their 35, they went for a run that went for 1 yard. On 2nd and 9 at their 36, they went for a pass that went for 14 yards to convert another first down at their midfield. So 1st and 10, they went for a pass that went for 6 yards. On 2nd and 4, they went for a pass that was incomplete. And on 3rd and 4, they went for a run that went for 2 yards, stopping them at the 42. Chicago's 42, so they punted the ball back for a touchback. With just slightly under 6 minutes remaining and still down by 26, Chicago trying to make one last attempt to save this game. Starting at their 20 on 1st and 10, they went for a pass that went for 34 yards, so they got a big break there. So on 1st and 10, starting at Omaha's 46 now, they went for a run. Why would they run at this point? That went for 2 yards. On 2nd 8 at their 44, they went for a pass that went for 13 yards and get another first down. So now at Omaha's 31 on 1st and 10, they went for a pass that was incomplete. On 2nd and 10, they went for another pass that gained 1 yard. So on 3rd and 9, they went back to pass. However, their quarterback was sacked again for a -6 yards. So on 4th and 15, one final try, they did a pass that went for only 4 yards to turn the ball over and gave Omaha the ball with just 2:20 left on the clock. So Omaha with the ball starting at their 32, they went for a pass that was incomplete. And this time now they took out all the starters now, so only the backups are playing. On 2nd and 10 at their 32, they went for a pass that went for 17 yards. And then on the next play, they had too many men on the field penalty at 7 back, 5 extra yards. So 2nd and 15 at their 44, they did a run that went for nothing. On 2nd and 15, they went for a run that went for 9 yards. And then finally on 3rd and 6, they did a run that went for 3 yards, and that would end the game. Omaha would clinch their first PFA title ever and be crowned the first ever PFA champions. Wow, what an unbelievable championship this was. What a dominant performance by Omaha. Chicago's defense did very well, but their offense just could not get anything done, and if Matthew Smart was playing, I think this game would have been much, much more different. So anyways, here's the final big stats for the game. Omaha's quarterback, Archie Marvin, was 23 of 27, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. That shows how well Chicago's defense was playing. And 71ers quarterback backup Robert Mullen, who did pretty good against the Pittsburgh Blitz 2 weeks ago in the Century Conference Championship. Today, 17 of 35, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. And look at these yards difference. Omaha got 471 yards, Chicago only 262. Omaha's wide receiver Stephen Carmona had 4 receptions, 103 yards, and a touchdown. And their other wide receiver Edmund Soto had 8 receptions, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And also 71ers defense, like I said, had 4 sacks in this game. They came to play in this game. This kind of reminds me of like the Broncos and last Super Bowl against the Broncos and Panthers. And 71ers cornerback John Tarver had 10 tackles and 2 pass defended. And one of their linebackers, Walter Jenkins, 5 tackles, 2 pass defense, and he made the 2 interceptions in this game. And if the Chicago won this game, I think he could have been the MVP of this game, but he's not. And the MVP of the game was Archie Marvin. Although those 2 picks did not look good, hey, 23 of 27. That's I think almost 80% completion or more, and 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was on fire in that game except for those 2 picks. So anyways, the Omaha Thunder, the #1 offense in the league, of all time too. The number 1 ranked team in the league, 15-3 record, is the 2016 PFA champion. What an incredible season they had. They had that terrible 3-week stretch where they lost those 3 games in embarrassing fashions, but they managed to make it all the way, starting off 14-0, finishing 15-3, clinching home field advantage, beating Los Angeles Angels 34-31, beating the Washington Americans 17-0 in the conference championship, and now look at this. They, after beating Chicago 71ers 35-9, they are the new champions of PFA. What an incredible season they had. What an incredible season PFA was for this year. So now, I gotta begin a massive overhaul of everything this year to begin 2017. Later on, I'm gonna upload a timeline video of the entire season week by week, including the playoffs. I got release the draft order. I'm gonna do a video highlight series of each team, what they did this year, how bad they were, how good they were, and what they need to do in 2017 to get better, and maybe hopefully make the schedule and do a whole bunch of other shit. That's gonna take a long time though, so it's probably gonna be a long time before you see the 2017 PFA season, but hopefully it'll be soon. So to finish this video, congratulations the Omaha Thunder for being the first ever PFA champions. You gotta give Chicago credit too to make it this far, and their defense did play hard despite being heavily outnumbered against Omaha this game. And congratulations to all 40 teams for trying their best this year. This was a great first season for PFA, and hopefully this will continue another success. So, see you soon for 2017.